We have a fresh and spicy patch today, version 0.2.3, and there are quite a few good changes in this one that should help balance things out, especially in the area of carries and offlane. Before getting into it, remember to subscribe if you haven't already, and check out the social links in the description and the pinned comment. But to look at the hero changes, no surprises that Countess has again been tweaked, but not in the way I expected. She has had her base health increased, health scaling reduced, movement speed reduced, and also had her shadow slip return time reduced. I guess this will be a suck it and see change, as I thought she might get some reduced healing, but she definitely was slippery to catch with her shadow slip and movement speed. Dekka has had a minor buff with her base physical power being bumped up by 4. A small change, but a few autos might make a difference in a fight, so it's a welcome change. Drongo has had their ult description fixed to show the CC immunity. Now Gadget, I was only saying this the other day and my prayers have been answered. Her Q scales better now, but her cooldowns are longer throughout the whole game, and the root duration on her gate has also been decreased to 1 second. I like Gadget and she is fun, but I think this nerf was needed as she became super oppressive with ability haste, to the point where you could throw another bomb almost straight after the last one blew up. She will still be strong due to the scaling, but at least now landing the bomb matters, as it has a longer cooldown, which in teamfights will be key. Grux is getting a little slap on the wrist, his base health is reduced by 20 and his base physical armor reduced by 4. It might not sound like much, but early game it will make him able to take less damage, and in the off lane that's a big deal. Early trading is make or break for your lane, so any off laner fighting a Grux will now have more of a chance to win a trade early. Howitzer has been changed, his bump distance on his mine has been reduced by 20% for enemies but increased 20% for himself. I think this is a really good change for his health in mid, as he was a very safe laner with his slug grenades and that mine. Hopefully this means you'll have to think a bit more about how to use it, rather than just bump enemies away with relative ease. Kallari has been slapped a little with the nerf bat. Her E base damage has been bumped slightly at each level, but the scaling has been reduced quite a bit, down 7%. Her ultimate has also been reduced in damage at each level. I was waiting for this to happen, as she is pretty godlike even at one item if you get a few kills early game. I had a game on stream the other day where a Kallari got so fed from the other lanes, she killed me so fast I literally couldn't see her. She just went from the left of the screen to the right of the screen with her ultimate, and then I died. So yeah, she can be a bit much. Hopefully now she can still be a strong assassin, but not insta-burst people after a few kills. Chimera got a bug fix on his description to state the correct duration on his passive. Narbash heal scaling has been increased by 5%. A very welcome change, as he was barely ever picked due to the blight buffs. I'll definitely give him a try now, because I do think Narbash is a great team play support option. Sevarog has been given some love. Base health increased by 10 and minion healing from his Siphon ability increased by 5%, which might not sound like a lot. An early game it won't be too much, but the mid and the late game that 5% will probably be quite noticeable. I will need to check him out, as I have been playing him occasionally, but he was definitely one of the weaker offlane options in terms of outright strength. Steel, I am surprised to report that he has gotten away with only a mana change on his Q ability, and it now costs 75 mana at all levels instead of scaling. As much as I enjoy Steel, I am very surprised that's all he got. I guess he lives to fight another day. I thought maybe his right mouse button scaling would be tweaked or the base damage reduced. Now to move on to the item changes. The Rogue Crest has had its power increased by 2. At tier 2, it has also been increased so that the Assassin's Crest now also has 2 more power. Tempest Crest has been reduced in its base damage by 10, but the scaling has been increased by 4%. Once you got Tempest, it was a pretty big power spike, so this kinda makes sense. It scales better now into the late game, rather than being super strong in the early game. Lock Shawl, which is one of the components for Leviathan, has been reworked. The cost has been decreased massively, the health has been reduced, health regen removed, but adding 15 magical armor. Its passive now makes it a blight item or anti-heal item, and the recipe has changed. I won't talk about this change at this point, I will wait until we cover Leviathan a little later, as it makes more sense to talk about it as a full item. Astral Catalyst, unsurprisingly, has had the cooldown reduction reduced by 5%. It was super popular on all mid lanes for a reason. Who doesn't want a 25% ult cooldown reduction for every killer assist? Hopefully this will maybe make other items more popular as an option, rather than most mid laners building Catalyst as a guaranteed thing. Augmentation has been changed slightly, having the physical power reduced by 10 but the attack speed increased by 10. I am curious to see if this changes who builds it. It's still a very similar item, but it just means that it's inherently less attractive for power scaling heroes, so we will just have to wait and see, I guess. Demolisher. Oh, how I have longed for this day ever since the carry items video. The first strike additional damage has been reduced from 50% to 35%. This should mean that the one-shot build a lot of carries have been running is now a lot less impactful in the sense that the first hit dealing almost half of a hero's HP at late game. This one item could take your damage from nearly 1000 damage per crit to 1500 damage per crit depending on the objectives taken, sometimes even higher if you add up Prime for example. Very happy with this change and curious to see if carries builds will change. Dust Devil has been buffed, attack speed per stack increased from 2 to 3% and movement speed at max stacks also increased by 5%. I feel like this item was neglected by players due to the burst options being stronger. Hopefully this will now get a look in, as it is definitely an interesting pick for making sure targets can't get away while also granting some very strong attack speed. Legacy has been tweaked, bumping the power by 10 but nerfing the haste by 10. Now we come to Leviathan. Similar to Lockshawl, it has been reworked. Reduced cost, health decreased, health regen nerfed by 75%, but adding 30 magical armor. It also has 2 new passives. It's now a blight item, meaning taking magical damage reduces the source's healing by 40%. But the big one for me is the Colossus passive. Gain 5% damage mitigation, which is doubled for targets affected by blight. To me, this is a large fuck you to mid laners and AP casters, but specifically to mid laners like Countess. Not only are you reducing their healing by 40%, but you're ignoring 10% of their damage. I'm looking at the new Leviathan, and I'm looking at heroes like Steel, Rampage, Richter, and Sevarog, and just thinking yes, this sounds like a good idea. I will be trying this out ASAP. Malady has been increased in cost by 100 gold. Mutilator has had another nerf, reducing the damage from 1.25 to 1% of the target's max HP, and the health stolen has been reduced by 3%. It has been a very popular item since the game released. I'm glad it has been nerfed again slightly, as it means now between Demolisher and Mutilator, tanks actually have a chance to tank a bit more. Nightfall has been reduced in cost and had a change of recipe, so it's technically better in both cost and stats. Raiment of Renewal has been nerfed slightly, healing decreased by 5%. Still a very good item, I don't think it will suffer too much from this. Tainted Guard buffed in ability haste by 5, a nice to have. Tainted Round's attack speed increased by 5. Hopefully this will become an option for carriers more, as I don't see many carriers actually building Blight because it was just easier to explode the target. Tainted Totem has been changed to not apply Nirvana to the owner, which if you didn't know was one of its passives and meant that you and nearby allies received 20% increased healing and shielding, which on Countess was pretty damn strong, so it was probably needed. Tectonic Mallet has been changed to show the movement speed bonus as well as decreasing the magical armor by 10. They have also fixed its passive, so it should be a better item to pick up now despite being nerfed on magical armor. Terminus now no longer stacks infinitely, thank the Lord. If you ever wondered why you saw a carry with half of their HP bar as a shield, that was why. True Silver Bracelet has been nerfed slightly with its HP reduced by 50. And finally we have Void Helm. It's been buffed to increase the movement speed by an extra 5%, which will be very nice for chasing down pesky carries or mid laners. But this item was already pretty good in my opinion, so I'm surprised it got a buff, but I'll take what I can get. All in all, this patch has made a big shift away from the meta we have had for the last few weeks. I've said it on stream before that the meta that we had was hugely burst dependent. You'd land a CC and that person would most likely turn to dust while uttering something about not feeling so good, Mr. Stark. It will still be bursty to a degree, I have no doubt about that, but the main item that gave carries that potential has been nerfed quite a bit, and mid laners and their items also got several changes. Plus mixed in with that, tanks and bruisers now have several either better or reworked items. I'd say the biggest things for me that I'm looking forward to trying is Sevarog with his buffs, as well as seeing how the new Leviathan and improved Tectonic Mallet and Void Helm sits for bruisers and tanks. Leviathan to me now seems like a godly item in terms of cost and benefit. Let me know what you think of this patch and what you think will happen with the heroes and meta in the comments or in my Discord. But with that, I will see you for the next video.